Join us live as we talk the big takeaways from the Gamer Developer Summit, glory of Stadia's big interview, and a release done right, finally, and much more. Let's get into it.
Stay sick cause I follow my gut. They say I was pushing my luck. I'ma push me a bad all black truck. Oh, I'm not sorry.
What's up, people? What's up, people? What's up, people? Hold on. Can y'all hear me? Uh-oh. Something's going on here. Can y'all hear me? Can y'all hear me all good? Oh, I know what it is. Yeah, y'all can hear me. What is up, everybody? Hey, y'all were complaining about the sound. Was my was the audio playing bad? I have to go back and listen to it. How can y'all hear me now? Let me know. Make sure, because sometimes I'm running voice meter, and sometimes voice meter can be all washed up and messy and stuff like that. So definitely let me know if everything is copacetic. With that being said, let me do this. Add this to the stream. Before we get started, before we get rocking and rolling, I just want to let everybody know that you can go to hndc.live. Let me put it here in the comment section, hndc.live. You can go there and you can, contribute to the podcast, contribute to the platform. It'll help us out a lot. It'll pop up on the screen as you'll soon see. Okay, it doesn't want to show up. There you go, just like that. All right. This is that janky double sound. Laugh my ass off. Oh, is it? Am I repeat? Is it? You can hear me like that now. Hold on. Let me see something. Okay. So y'all shouldn't hear a double sound now, right? Right? Y'all don't hear a double sound. Your mic is okay? Okay. Thank you, Regis Norris, for doing what Cold Blood says they couldn't do, goddammit, because all he wanted to do is throw insults. Thank you for being specific. Cold Blood says I'm sending you a thesaurus and a CCU. Anyway, okay, it was the music that was acting all janky. All right, we got to work on it. I'm old. I'm old, and I got to make sure I have my right amount of fiber before my brain works right. You know what I'm saying? But forget all that. Let's get into the news as it is today. Look, we got a lot of stuff to cover. We got a lot of stuff to talk about, and we're not going to do we're not going to take too much time, rather, talking about it. We got the GDDS Game Developers Google Game Developer Summit, right? That happened last week. Brian and I covered that. We're going to talk about the big takeaways from that. We also got a Stadia game release that finally happened right. We've always had some ups and downs, some big time roller coaster rides. I was shaking my old man fist at the window in regards to one particular release when it came to Division 2, but we got another Ubisoft game that happened right. You know what I'm saying? The price is right too. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to give kudos where it needs to be. Also, I want to talk about something. I don't want to ruin the whole interview here and spoil it, because these guys deserve for you immediately after this to go watch that interview. But what I urge everybody to do is, if you're not following the Glory of Stadia channel, I'll leave a link to their show below. Follow them. And then you're going to want to watch the interview that they do with the Stacks on Stacks interviewer. Okay. That was groundbreaking. It was eye-popping, and it was really a big stain, in the drawers. You know what I'm saying? It was a golden streak in the underoos for Business Insider. Man, it made them look real bad. Then we got a lot more news. So let's do this. First and foremost, we're going to check out our chat. He said, learn to read. Man, all you said was that janky double sound. What the hell does that mean? See, when you double dutch it, what the hell does that mean? Cold Blood Sensei, come on. Record sources in the house, the homie Cold Blood Sensei, as usual. Every platform that I'm on, man, big time supporter. I'm just cutting the rug with him, man. We got Charles Duran, big ups to Charles. We got David Crosby now. What's up, David Crosby? And I anticipate we're gonna get more. Let me grab my drink. Hold on one second. Give me 1 second. Just hold tight. I just gotta grab my drink. Hold on. Now let me specify what my drink is. It's Country Time Lemonade. This is nothing that you thought it was. This is a children's show, right? It's a PG rated show. Tasty. Also, for those of you that are like Cold Blood Sensei, big time supporter, the supporter of the channel, really. He has supported us. Cash payment. Loots.com, every which way, you know what I'm saying? That y'all probably looking like, why does MM2K let this guy verbally abuse him like this? Because he leaves $5 on the counter afterwards. I'm just joking. But if y'all can support the platform, it would mean a lot to me. And you don't have to do it financially. Like, you can also do it through Loots.com. Loots.com isn't working right now, but we're getting good news to people like Cold Blood Sensei that use it regularly. We are working with Loops to get it active. It should be active in the next few weeks, I believe. So, stay tuned for that. All right, before we get started, y'all. Before we get started, hold on, Charles. See if this means anything for Stadia. What's that? Twitter. Okay, I'll take a look at that, Charles. What I want to do is I want to talk about something that happened earlier that's like mind-boggling, right? So as you guys all know, I frequent the console wars, the crumb side or whatever. You know what I'm saying? It ain't not. Hey, look, to each his own. You like it, I love it. You know what I'm saying? Some people may say that's beneath them, and fine, whatever. Some people may find it entertaining and laughing. Hey, look, there's room for people to love Good Morning America, and then there's room for people to love Howard Stern too. You see what I'm saying? I don't discriminate or down talk anybody. It's just whatever you're doing, whether you're playing the clarinet in the elevator music or you dropping F-bombs, let your stuff be factual. I don't care what the platform premise is. That's all I care about. So I don't look down my nose at anybody. With that being said, I do frequent the crumb side stuff, whatever. I choose not to bring a lot of that to this platform. You know what I mean? Because we operate a little bit differently here. Not saying one's better than the other. It's just a choice that I made. That being said, via the crumb side, the homie J-Dub. If anybody knows who J-Dub is, he's a crumb side warrior. He's a entity that is supposed to be the yin and yang to Tim Dog, right? Tim Dog is an Xbox fanboy. J-Dub is a PlayStation fanboy, and they go back and forth and put out their propaganda in light of their favorite console, and it's comical to me, and I partake in here and there. You know what I'm saying? So J-Dub put out one of his typical anti-Xbox tweets where he brought up an old Matty B, aka Matt Booty, interview, and Matty B is ahead of the Xbox Game Studios. An old interview where Matt B said that, a large focus of their work is going to be AA games in between their AAA games. You know what I'm saying? I remember covering the video because I was like, this is incoherent. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't help fight the narrative, the perception that Xbox has or whatever. So just doing this typical crumb side stuff, J-Dub put it out there. And it blew up on the internet. And it shouldn't have. It shouldn't have. Because all you're doing is feeding his trolling. If he doesn't, and I'll be quick with this because I know this is you guys come to your Stadia stuff, but this does connect to Stadia, so hear me out. If you have confidence that your box maker is going to bring stuff, regardless of what anybody says, then ignore that silly stuff, right? Ignore it. He says that Matty B claims that he's not going to bring games. If Xbox drops commercials and they show games, guess what? People will look at J-Dubs' tweet and say J-Dubs is a liar. Right or am I wrong? But if Xbox isn't dropping no games, then people will believe that perception. So on the flip side of that, I responded to some of the people that were, itching in the crotch about what he did, right? Not looking at the big picture. And I said, perception is not intense to the law. If the perception is a certain way and you're not fighting hard enough to swat it down, that's a you problem. I'm not going to sit here and shed tears for a Fortune 500 company, for a multi-billion, trillion-dollar company. I'm here for the gamer, not for any of these companies. Well, people responded, well, then why are you always talking about Stadia? Look, and like I've told you guys several podcasts ago, I told you guys listen, you guys are in the know. You guys don't sit there and finger tap, tippity tap, tap, armchair quarterback and for clicks, like some of these people that respond to me. You're in the know. Whether you agree with me or not, you're in the know, and that's a great place to be. But for those that like to tippity tap, tap, tippity tap, tap, that don't know what the hell they're talking about, my platform is based upon exposing the truth. But I don't do it for the sake of Google. I've said before, right? I do not have the strength in my shoulders to carry a multi-billion-dollar company. I am here for the gamers. And ultimately, for this stuff to go away or not be as effective as it is now, it's up to who? Google. I said we do have a part to play. It's very important for us to have a part to play, because if we just let this stuff fly in the echo chamber without responding and without bringing facts, then we got a problem. But you don't bring facts by just insulting people. Yeah, I say some stuff like I call Dreamcast guy this and Young Ye that, but I do it after compounding you with facts. Then I come up with a slick line. And you're no better than the person you're trying to insult when you got nothing but insult yourself and you don't have a plethora of facts. The fact of the matter is that Microsoft has had 7 years in this game, just this generation alone. Stadia has had 3 to 4 months. Trying to put them two on the same plateau is a farce and it's idiot work. Everybody has to show and prove. And after 7 years of saying the games are coming, and we don't see jack squat, I almost cursed. If we don't see jack squat, whose fault is that? So again, if you don't like J-Dub's tweet, or you don't like an MM2K tweet, or you don't like a Tim Dog tweet, it is up to the multi-billion trillion dollar company to hit you with a plethora of the other side of the reality. So the content creators and the people out there in the ethos can say, see, you're a dummy, because here goes the facts. So be mad at Microsoft that this narrative continues to run. They've had 7 years to fix it. Opposed to Google. When we get together, we join forces, Google. We don't like these prices. Guess what happens? They drop a sale. Google, I want to see Rage 2 for $20. Guess what happens? Rage 2 is $20. Google, what's up with Ubisoft and their bullcrap prices? They drop a huge sale. Do you see what I'm saying? Microsoft, we want to see games. AAA games. AAA stellar games. Mature theme games. We don't believe that games are all about headshots and kills. What? What? So don't give me that garbage. Do not put a company with a 20-year pedigree in this business against a company that has 3 months in the game, to where someone like us, an average Joe Schmoes and Jane Schmoes like us, could simply say, we want to see this. Boom, there it goes. We want to see that. Boom, there it goes. We want to see hardcore games. We know it's going to take you a while to do AAA games first party. We want to see some hardcore, some hard stuff. AA second part, AAA second party. Boom, Baldur's Gate. What? What? Meanwhile, on the other side of the tracks, I don't want to keep games from other gamers. So don't get mad at the Twitter person that's feeding a perception. You get mad at the multi-trillion or billion-dollar company that can't even fight the narrative because they refuse to say hardcore games. Now, am I right or am I wrong? Or better yet, are we finished or are we done? You know what I'm saying? Like, we got to stop this garbage. We got to stop it. Cold Blood Sensei says, Xbox is dog crap thanks to the below average games. Look, that may be an overreach to some. That might be on point. It might be a complete farce. But it's up to the company to drop the games. That's like, Stadia don't work. It don't work. I go out there, I show a video, fine. But Google got to go out there and show you that it works, right? And they got to go out there and bring people in there and show them that it works, right? Facts. There's only so much I can do. There's only so much you can do. The big gavel was with them. So if you don't like the narrative, then the company should be out there fighting it. Same thing with PlayStation. It goes with everybody. Oh, that boost mode is a farce. It's baloney. They ain't gonna do nothing for gaming. They just got weaker teraflops and they tried to overclock it to try to compensate on a piece of scratch paper. It's up to PlayStation to prove those people wrong. If PlayStation can prove those people wrong, then guess what you get to do? You get to go back to them and say, aha, dummy, shut up. So until that happens, you can't get mad at anybody when the multi-billion trillion dollar company isn't solidifying the facts for themselves. Period. with that being said, let's get on to today's topics. All right. Let me add this to the stream. All right, let's do this. Trizza Rector says, what's up? What's up, Trizza Rector? Topic number 1. And I did that wrong. It should be GGDS. Maybe can I fix that on the fly? Let me fix that on the fly. Let me fix that. That's the beauty of StreamYard. GGDS. Save. All right. There we go. We got that fixed. Okay, now. No, I just had to get that off my chest, man, because it gets ridiculous out here. And again, this is a Stadia podcast, but we got people that are trying to compare. I don't want to use infidelities, but the imbecile nature of some of the decisions that have been made by a company with a 20-year pedigree against a three-month-old company. You can't do that. Just like PlayStation has to prove that the boost mode is there, Stadia has to prove that it works. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of that has fell on our shoulders, and we've done it. We did the Destiny compare video. You know what I'm saying? But Google has to solidify it. Xbox has to go out there and show that they got the games. It's as simple as that. Period. All right. Now that we're back in reality, let's continue on with the show. So here's what this was. For those that were not familiar, the Google Developer Summit, or Game Developer Summit, was to replace GDC, right? And what they did is they had a keynote. Where John Justice and several other people talked about Google Play, the new data centers, Google Ads, and then of course Stadia, right? And the Stadia and the Google, the data center piece was real important. But before we get into that, one of the biggest takeaways from this summit was John Justice multiple times saying that Stadia will be here for years to come. And as far as I'm concerned, that comment was pivotal because again, we got people that go to, and this is a perfect precursor or follow-up to what I was just talking about. That we got people out here that are saying Google is closing shops. It's closing shops. Golly. Maybe there is some rum in my country time lemonade. Google is closing shop by the end of this year. But guess what they did? They hired Shannon Studstill. They gave her a whole bunch of money to pull her away from Santa Monica, right? They gave her a whole bunch of cash. Then they built her a whole new lab to work in. She got a whole new lab to herself. And they're building first-party studios, and I think they got another one in New England that's being ran. I think it's New England. I could be wrong. Or Connecticut, that's being ran by the dude from Ubisoft. And they all report to Jade. Her last name loses me for some reason. I do not know why, y'all. Well, I'm old. I know why I'm old. So you got all those inner workings happening, right? And because you got all those inner workings happening, people can say, well, Google got a lot of money, they're throwing it away. But they came out themselves and pronounced in this keynote why they are here to stay and why people need to shut up about that. And guess what? You heard nothing in response from the media trying to contradict it because now they know that there ain't no way out of it. And guess what else they know? They know now that individuals like me, sources like me, are going to come out there once this gets solidified, once the year is over, and we say, aha, dummy, you were wrong, like I said the other people could do once Microsoft starts showing the games. See, I went out there and warned them. I told them, don't you do that, and they didn't listen. So that's why I don't bring them up as much anymore. But what's going to happen is, when that anvil drops, guess who's going to be out there to point it out? Moi. That's how it works. So John Justice came out there and he said what needed to be said. This whole keynote was based upon things that needed to be said from Google themselves that we did not hear from them. And they went out there and said the things that they needed to say. So to me, that was a paramount statement. And then him showing how they're here to stay, the investments that they made while they're here to stay. Big ups to Generation Stadia. Very poetic in his videos. I love his content. I urge everyone to look for Generation Stadia. Even if y'all don't want to listen to me screaming and spitting all over my pop filter, caking it up. That's fine. I urge everybody to go look up Generation Stadia and follow that man today. We got a lot of great content creators, don't get me wrong. But the poetic nature and how he connects the dots, that was the first person that connected to me, and then he introduced me to this, through his content, introduced me to the Stadia community. And he said poetically, this is not Joe Bob Briggs' barbecue startup. This is Google, the richest company in the world. If you believe just because the first 3 months wasn't well on to a couple of YouTubers and a couple of click-thirsty publications made some mean articles that they're going to pack up shop and go away, you're an idiot. You're truly an idiot. And you haven't done your research. But he can say it as poetically and as profoundly as he did, and it doesn't matter if Google don't follow it up. And Google followed it up. So that's the point I was making in my prologue. You want Xbox to stop getting teased? Then Xbox got to follow it up. Just like we expect Google to follow up on their promises, and we're holding their feet to the fire, period. But so that was profound that John Justice did that. So kudos to him. Also, crowdplay was confirmed in 2020. Now, people say that, this was supposed to be there at launch. Google never said that any. See, that's my infamous. Give me a second, y'all. That's my infamous. Give me 1 second. Okay, y'all can hear me. That is my infamous voice meter. And voice meter be on some stuff. So we got to wait for that to go away. But y'all get my point. That Google never said this stuff would be there at launch. People made a lot of assumptions. Like when it came to the true 4K, I can kind of understand where the mix-up was. They talked about 4K, then all of a sudden you had my homie, was it Mark Stratton or whatever the hell his name is from Ed Software from Bethesda. He came up there and said Doom would be native 4K native 4K, true 4K. And people assumed that was across the board with all games, and it wasn't clear there. But Google never said any of this stuff was coming launch. What the community also did is they assumed that Google was going to do a Game Pass format, that it spread like wildfire in the community. So when Google said, no, we're more like an Xbox Live format where we're dropping you free games, but you're paying to have premier access to the service, people were like, oh no, this is horrible. Google defies logic and tricks everybody. No. Go back to I.O., go back to the GDC of 2019. They never said any of that stuff. You were in your own echo chamber. So that's why it's important to pronounce this, because people got a lot of things mixed up and they spread this narrative that is false. So it's good for Google to come out here and say, look, here's the truth. Crowd play. We didn't bring people here and lie about features and they're not coming. Crowd play is coming 2020. So that's important for that reason to recapture the narrative and say, no, here's what's actually going on. This is our long-term goal, and this is when these things are coming. And they pronounce that crowd play, which is giving you the ability to be watching your favorite YouTuber play a game on Stadia. And then then they can slice out a piece of the gameplay, and they can say, okay, I beat that in 15 seconds, or I killed 20 people in 15 seconds. You try it, whether you have the game or not. That now there's some level of interaction like that on Twitch, but it's analog. It's not automated. It's going to be automated here. And that could be a big deal for people to interact with their favorite YouTubers and for contributors themselves to open up brand new brand new possibilities for people to interact with their content. And that was one of the biggest features that the community as a whole was like, oh, that sounds dope. I can't wait to do that. So can you imagine me playing a Division like it was me, my homie Projekt, Storm, the homie 6'4", and Ashes to Ashes, big up to them, part of the MOB, baby. If you ain't down, get down. You want to be part of the MOB clan for Division 2? Just let your boy know. We'll get you down. With that being said, we were all going through this intense moment. So I could take a slice of that and say, okay, now you try to survive that. That would be dope. And then I can give prizes to those that survive it. The top 3 people get a surprise. I buy them a game or something like that. It creates whole new ways to interact with your community where it benefits the streamer and it benefits the gamer himself when done right. So it's important to note that is coming 2020. All right. Big ups to Stadia Talk. The homie Chase says, hey, Stadia Dosage. Stadia dropped a Q&A with splash damage. Oh man. We're going to get into that. That's going to be one of our subject matters. A Q&A with splash damage. And Chase Forth, I saw that you dropped it too. I appreciate both of y'all. Oh, damn it, Chase, that is you. Chase, I'm too old for this, brother. Don't be tricking me, man. Don't be tricking me, man. Okay, we'll definitely check that out. Thank you for that. So then, speaking of that, was my next point. See, great minds think alike. Splash damage exclusive for Stadia. While we're here, let's do this. Let's get into it. Let me pull it up right now because it fits all into the narrative. We go back here. The homie Chase dropped the. Chase is so funny, man. I said, Chase Forth put that. Okay, great. Let me see here. Okay, so let's do this. We're gonna bring it up. Oh, all right. Look at here. Boy, look at here. Oh, we got some. What do y'all? Let me know in the chat. Do y'all want me to go over this content by content? This is important because it's very important because I spoke about this last night. It's another thing. So I do a show called Scram Punks with the homie Dirk Griggity. Great show. Raunchy, but it's still a great show, right? We want to let everybody know that we're live. We are live. All right. So I'm doing a show with Dirk. And so Dirk says, I want to talk about the Stadia news. And I said, fantastic, Dirk. I said, we can bring it up. And he's like, because I found some great stuff on Stadia. What Dirk don't realize is, see, I be peeping everything, right? So he already gave it away that he has some slick stuff up his sleeve. Because Dirk Griggity is he calls himself the Xbox Gaia. He's an Xbox guy, right? And I was like, why is this guy all of a sudden so? Because I'm happy that this has happened, but I haven't heard enough from Splash Damage's game for me to be super excited. It's not like Rockstar was making an exclusive game. Splash Damage normally has done support, and they're doing the Gears Tactics game. Not saying that this isn't a big story, but personally, I'm not excited about it until I get details. Now we got details. Now I'm excited. About to go over them details. We'll see how excited I'll be when I go over the details. So Dark Griggity said, we're gonna talk about this. He made sure he got it. He got it in the stuff that we talked about, right? The catalog of items that we talked about. So he said, "What? Are you excited?" I'm like, "I'm not really." I said, "I'm happy," and there was silence. So then he came and he said, "What do you feel about it?" I said, "Oh, it's good that you're doing that." I said, "But look, as far as I'm concerned personally, it's nothing new to me. You're making this big whoop to do about it. Stadia said that they're coming with 10 exclusive in the first 6 months of June alone. I'm not saying this is one of the exclusives, but I know games is coming. I'm in the know. I follow the content. I know the facts. This is news for you because you are not in the know. So it's cool, but it's not out of the realm of stuff that I already know." So he then says to me, he tries to throw it in there. He says, "Well, you're excited about just game announcements, right?" And I'm like, no. What he was trying to do was he was trying to get me to renege on something I said about Xbox. And I say, all y'all got is announcements and promises, but nothing tangible in your hands. And I said, no, I'm not excited about, this is good. This is a good step, but I'm excited. Would you want to know what I'm excited about? I'm excited about Baldur's Gate. Why? Because Larian Studios has a lineage. I've seen their games. I love their 2 prior games. They're 90 Metacritic games. So they're universally cherished. I'm excited because I've seen what they're going to do firsthand. I've covered the content. All I see prior to what I got on the screen right now is simply Splash Damage's logo, an announcement at the Developer Summit. I'm happy, but that doesn't make me excited. So I'm keeping the same energy. You know what I'm saying? And that's why we got to make sure, again, that these companies will try to do as least as possible if we let them. We got to make sure that we always keep our eyes on the prize. I'm going to talk about Ubisoft. I had issues with Ubisoft. Ubisoft recently calmed my nerves. I'm going to give them kudos. We'll talk about that later in the show. But when you leave these companies unchecked and you just like them because they're wearing your favorite Limbo shirt, you put yourself in a bad, bad spot, period. Period. So let's get into, so do y'all want me to get into this whole thing? He said, Chase says, the last part of the Q&A is good, says more news later this year. If they offer those digitally, if not, look out for Stadia Connect. All right. So let's see here. Let's look at the questions here. Question number 1 is, Richard, what drew your attention to Stadia? What makes Splash Damage and Stadia a good fit? What gets your team excited about potential of developing a game on Stadia? How has your collaboration with Stadia been so far? Chase, let me know what question I should go over, because I'm not going to go over the full thing right now. I might do a video on this tomorrow. When I got another video slate, I'll do a video on this on Monday to go over this. He says, we're all excited to learn more about what you guys are working on. Can we hear more? How has your collaboration with Stadia been so far? Okay, so I'm going to start with this question. What gets your team excited about potential of developing a game on Stadia? We watched like the rest of the gaming world when Stadia was first announced with excitement. We got to play with the technology a few months before and knew how revolutionary this would be for the industry. Being able to play anywhere on any device has changed the way we can think about designing and making games. And this is prevalent to another story that I'm going to talk about later, cloud native gaming being the future. This is coming from another developer. Not so much working with Stadia. We don't know who they're working with, but they put cloud gaming on a high pedestal, and they got a pedigree in the industry. So put a placeholder on that. But they say amazing work has been done over the years to bring new audiences to gaming and to make playing games as accessible as ever. Platforms like Steam on PC or dedicated consoles have meant that the barrier to entry that we're experiencing growing up has been eroded. But now with Stadia, the barrier to entry is almost invisible. Stadia has the potential to bring untold audiences to our industry, not just players for who an expensive PC or console has been a blocker. Frictionless gaming, well, put a placeholder on that phrase, has been a blocker, but new designers and creators with brand new ideas inspired by what Stadia is offering. How has your collaboration been so far, Richard? Splash Damage has been great. The Stadia team have built the Stadia team have built are all industry leading in their respective fields and have been a joy to work with, whether it's design, production, marketing, or other disciplines. The insight we're greeted with daily is incredible, refreshing, and inspiring. It really feels like a partnership. Only recently, we had a whole team from Google visit us in London for a few days to talk about the project and give us insight from the platform and how we can leverage the wealth of knowledge within Stadia and YouTube and what's coming next. Interesting. All right. And lastly, as Chase alluded to, we're all excited to learn more about what you guys are working on. How can we hear more? We're thinking of building something that's fun, unique, and takes advantage of Stadia's best features. It's something a little different from us, but it still has all the hallmarks of what Splash Damage does. Great. Or what makes a Splash Damage game great. We can't wait to share more with you all later. All right. Excellent. So I think that's cool. Chase says that collaboration one shuts stuff down in the last question. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Absolutely, Chase. And what Chase is alluding to is this whole narrative that nobody wants to work with Stadia because they're giving people, for lack of a better term, they're giving people EBT cards for payment in a pack of cools. The richest company in the world don't know how to pay people. That's how they build third-party relationships and become the richest company in the world, have third-party vendors that help boost up their products and services because they don't know how to pay people, right? They don't know how to pay people. This is what they do. They go to the local Food Lion or whatever grocery stores in your region, clip out coupons and say, here, you get $5 off of 3 packs of Twizzlers. This is what we're going to give you. If you believe that, I'm sorry. You need a CAT scan. Gaming in the year 2025 is going to be a $325 billion industry. Google wants a major slice of that pie. They know they're not going to get there without making inroads up front. So the belief that Google's going to come in here, give you an EBT card, $5 off 3 packs of Twizzlers, and a half-empty carton of Cools for payment is stupid. And if you think that you're smarter than Google, then you need a CAT scan. Because there's a reason why they're the richest company in the world. You're not. Now, I'm not saying everything is peachy rosy. I'm not saying that. But they didn't get here by being stupid. They understand the money and investment that's involved. So that's why when you see articles like Business Insider, whether you're a fan of cloud gaming or not, because this is what this all boils down to. 99.99999% of you haters just don't like cloud gaming. Y'all just don't like it. So that's why y'all cherish this bull crap. You're like a piece of cheap glass, can see right through you. That's what all your hate is based off. You just don't like the idea of cloud gaming. You don't like it. We get it. You soil your trousers every day at the thought of it. I get it. I understand. They got something for that. It's called Depends. Now, while you're putting on your Depends, the rest of us are enjoying and understand what this platform can provide. And because we understand that, we know that when articles like Business Insider come out there, it just doesn't sit right. It just don't even sit right. Like Chase said, something's not going on right here. And then immediately when they put that article out, Chase was able to slice it down. Boom, 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 boom. This is why this doesn't make sense. So then I took what Chase put out there, which was fact, and then I went to the lab and I produced a video and showed even more fact to compound it. While the rest of you is still out there eating the same spoiled food that got you messing up your Depends. So to what Chase is saying is that if you don't like cloud gaming, so what? If you want to keep dedicated device gaming, sure, support it. As long as there's enough support, dedicated device gaming ain't going nowhere. But you hear companies like Microsoft, Google, everybody talking about this term, frictionless gaming. You don't even know what that is, do you? You don't even know what that is, do you? You probably don't know. If you're an Xbox person and you tuned into this because you saw me put a link out there on Twitter, you don't realize that even though Phil Harrison said that cloud gaming is only good when you're away from your console, that last week at their GamerStack conference, Microsoft admitted that there's things that can be done on the cloud that cannot be done via dedicated devices due to frictionless gaming. You don't even know what that is, do you? We'll get to that later in the show. But big up to Chase for bringing that up. Thank you very much, sir. I appreciate it. And one of the things, speaking of what Chase had brought to light, is one of the things that he talked about that I thought was so profound, because he's better at it than I am breaking it down. I don't even understand what it means. But he helped I didn't understand what it meant, but he helped break it down for me. Excuse the pig. Is that, and part of the keynote, here, let me put it up here on the screen. So you ain't gotta, all right, let's mute that. Let's just put it up on the screen for y'all to see. So, the thing is that when Google was talking about their data centers and how they're creating this new massive data center, and Chase, if you're still here, correct me where I'm wrong, any place in the chat, where they're taking this massive data center and they're creating it based off of multiple data servers, and they're making one big instance in the cloud, right? And they're beta testing this right now. It's not being done anywhere else. Right, Chase, correct me where I'm wrong. Or Trizza Rector, who's also a developer, correct me where I'm wrong. Because this is not my biggest level of expertise, but I think I got a good grasp on this. Not being done anywhere else currently. And what this will do is this will help supplement the fact that Google has been talking about making this 24/7 scalable world, not region locked, kind of like in the same vein. I hear people say in the same vein as Ready Player One, where thousands upon thousands of players are gaming simultaneously in one continuous instance. That's big. Something never done before, and something that can't be done with a dedicated device solution. So that's why these things like this are big, and they're creating worlds that can't be done because of friction. I'm gonna get into what that means. Because of frictionless gaming, the type of gaming that cloud gaming presents. Yes, there are actually development benefits. There is actually a bottleneck on development. Can you believe it? There is actually a bottleneck on development due to developing for a dedicated device solution that you don't get from a streaming solution. Yes. Some of the biggest developers that are full-throated behind dedicated devices are coming out and admitting that, including Microsoft, who just told you 5 seconds ago, said cloud gaming is only good for when you're away from your console. And 5 seconds later, they're telling you that there are only certain things that only can be done in cloud gaming for frictionless gaming. And you're hearing that term being uttered more and more and more. You're going to get educated on what that means later in the show. But with that said, big ups to the homie, Stadia Weekly One. He says, I'm checking in. I appreciate you, good brother. Cold Blood Sensei, my favorite arch nemesis. He says, why is Stadia always ducking the question about data caps? They didn't duck the question. They said, and they got laughed at, but we get to say, dummies. They said, we expect game companies to release the data caps. And everybody laughed at them. But now we're seeing Samsung entering deals with Xbox. Excuse me. We're seeing now, with the advent of this virus, data caps were all of a sudden lifted. Now, people may hark upon that and say, you know what? Well, they got a lower resolution on. You know what? This is me with my tinfoil hat. I'm not full-throated in belief that they have to do that. I think that they understand, because my brother, look, I'll explain it like this. And y'all laughed at me too. That's why I get to say, dummy. I told y'all, I've been telling y'all for the last 2 years that my brother used to work for this company, this internet company. He was a VP there. He told me years ago that in 2000, we all could have T1 speed internet service, that it is purposely being throttled by the internet providers because they're thinking long term. They're like, if we just give them little driblets at a time and we increase the price of the internet over time, that's going to be more lucrative for us. that we could have had T1 service 20 years ago. That data caps are they're a fake delimiter that was created by the internet companies. It's not that they had to create and build the cable infrastructure to get to T1 server. They had the capabilities 20 years ago. They're just trying to make money and scheme. And I told y'all that, and y'all laughed. And guess what happened? When the advent of the virus, guess what got lifted all of a sudden? Data caps, right? So in the advent of that getting lifted, guess what you heard? Why do we have data caps in the first place? The company said, what we're gonna have to do is we're gonna have to drop this to 480 so we can spare the bandwidth. Now, in talking to my brother, who's more of a SME, a SME, a subject matter expert in this arena, that may not be the case. They may not need to do that. That might be a false narrative because they realize that they stepped on a bear trap by just releasing data caps like that. And they got to come up with some measure. See, but if we release data caps all the time, then people ain't going. Then they're going to bog up the internet. See, I don't know, but that's just a theory of mine. I'm not living it down off it. I'm just saying I don't believe that. Now, with that being said, you got to keep in mind too that everybody's in the house. Damn well, everybody's in the house, whether they're being told to or just scared. So if they release the data caps and people get free reign again, then you're not going to have this bandwidth problem. Let's just say if it really exists, quote unquote. So no, they were very accurate in describing what they expected from the what's we can't see past the 5 minutes from now. That's our problem. We got to have a fancy YouTuber or someone that talks like this tell us on the internet or on social media whether something's true or not. We can't pick up a goddamn book. Excuse my French. We can't pick up a phone. We can't do our own research to save our lives. I have to let you know in this voice around 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time in order for you to believe it. That's not a reflection on reality. That's a reflection on you. So as demand increases for more internet speed, Phil Harrison is actually right. They're going to remove the data caps because they're going to find another business model to make money off of. That's all. Simple as that. Period. So to your question, Cold Blood Sensei, very good question, but it didn't hit it right on the nail as far as factuality. Phil Harrison was very open about data caps. He never ducked it. He mentioned it at Gamer Slice with Jeff Keighley. All right. But good question anyway. Who else we got here? Stadia Rocks. Taking it to church, brother. I'm trying, man. I'm trying. Big ups to Stadia Rocks. And he's a developer too. He gets it. He knows it. He knows the capabilities of this platform. And frictionless game. Now, Rocks. I get that you are an overachieving wealth of knowledge, but don't spoil it for them. I'm going to educate them. Don't tell them about what frictionless gaming is because you're in the know. Rocks is a developer. He knows his stuff, really knows his stuff. You don't believe me? You got to check out his content. You got to check out his interviews. My man knows his stuff. Chase will tell you, hey, Chase. Rocks knows his stuff. So we're in the know about the platform. So when we see the Business Insider articles, we say this is a bunch of bullpucky. That's basically what it is. But great point, Rocks. Stadia Weekly says 12 watches, 7. Let's get this up. And do me a favor, guys. Share this out. Let everybody know that we're live. Let them know that we're live. Just hit that little share button, that little button at the bottom here. Let me show you. See this bottom button right here? This share button. Just hit that button. Hit Twitter, tweet it out, Facebook, whatever. Let everybody know that we are live. Okay, I appreciate it. All right. But that's it. Let's continue on. So the biggest takeaway from me, though, is what happened with Destiny 2. Now, hear me out, guys, because Well, you know what? Before I move on, no, in the big God, the homie Cold Blood Sensei. This is why I love dissenting opinions. I'm never going to be one of those YouTubers that blocks, that don't read your comments. Hold on, here's my son. Hello, son. Your dad is live. Are you alive? You got all your fingers and toes?
Yeah.
What's wrong? Oh, I'm live, son. Can I call you back?
Yeah.
I'm talking about your favorite platform, Stadia. Do you have something to say to the crowd?
Not much.
You just want your birthday present. You'll get it. All right. I'll talk to you in a little bit, son. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Bye-bye. That's my son. He's over spending time with his grandma while they're out of school. Now, and for those that don't recall, he was playing with me on Stadia Super Saturday, the event that the dead people had. Woo! The dead people came from the depths of the earth like Pet Cemetery. Woo! And they all had an event, 24 hours game streaming with over 6,000 interactions and 11,000 impressions, or 24,000 impressions. Anybody that was part of it, over 24,000 impressions, 6,000 views within the first 24 hours. I haven't even checked since then, but that was the dead people event. Woo! But no, he did the game stream, the Borderlands game stream with me, and you can look up Stadia Super Saturday for more details on that. It was very fun. We had a great time. Anyway, Destiny 2. Okay, Destiny 2. Oh, no. I was getting the Cold Blood Sensei's comment. He says it's not going to happen. $100 per month in Germany, impossible for me. And you know what, Cold Blood Sensei? It may take some time for that infrastructure to hit you. And guess what? You have options, right? You have options. That's great. 55%. It said that only 55% of the homes in the United States have adequate service to play multiplayer games like Fortnite. Only 55%. Does that mean Fortnite says, you know what? Only 55% of people got this. We're going to close up shop. Did Tim Sweetie say that? Or did Tim Sweetie got the most successful game the last several years? No. Let's do the math. Population of United States. There are currently 327 million people in the United States. So if I'm doing rough shot math, 170 million people can play Fortnite, potentially. That's a hell of a lot of V-Bucks. Now, there are certain regions within the United States that can't play it. Get it. Got it. Good. But everybody else can. That's a lot of people. That's a lot of money. That's a lot of revenue. And of course, that's why we see a lot of success. So someone like my homie Cold Blood Sensei can sit there and look at Google Stadia and say, it's not going to work for me. And that's fine. He has to go get a dedicated device solution until the infrastructure comes from. When the demand increases, the supply will come. But he loves playing his console. So he ain't got no qualms. He ain't got nothing to worry about. Just because something isn't for you doesn't mean it's dead in the water. It's the point that I'm trying to make. Because if that was the case, then Fortnite would never be a thing. Only 55% of the people in the United States can play Fortnite. And guess what? It's the hell of a game, success-wise. We got to stop this. We got to stop this. Gaming is a selfish hobby, nonetheless, absolutely. But everything doesn't revolve around just you and I. You got to look at the big picture. You got to look at things from 5,000 feet. The same 55% can't watch Netflix, right? The same 55% can't get down with Hulu, right? Guess what? Hulu's knocking it out of the box. Netflix will be knocking it out of the box too if it wasn't for them all these damn licenses they got to pay for. And the same is going to apply for game streaming. Those who can't do it, which is a lot of people, will do it. Just like me. Every day. No problem. I fit into the group of 55% of just the United States alone. 50% of the United States that can do it. Now, I get that Germany can't do it. All right. It may not see success in Germany overnight. But it's still going to see some numbers. And just because I'm for Stadia doesn't mean I'm against dedicated devices. I just prefer Stadia. I want dedicated devices to stay around because I care that my friend, my homie, Cold Blood Sensei can play the games that he wants to play. Y'all got to get out of this binary choice narrative. This is not Survivor. Stop treating everything like this is a walking CBS sitcom or television reality show. Everything is not Survivor. Just because I like cloud gaming doesn't mean that I gotta hate dedicated devices. Because if I hate dedicated devices, guess who I don't get to play Division with? And last night or yesterday, I got to play Division with Rageanot. Cold Blood didn't jump in, but he can. Rageanot plays on PC. It's cross-play. You see how that works. This is not Survivor. I'm old. Why are y'all making me yell like this? Like, come on. So because I care about what Cold Blood can play, what Rageanot can play, or whatever my other friends that have dedicated devices can play, I don't want Stadia to come and take over and get them out. No, but I want it to be available for someone like me that can utilize it. Options. That's it. Options. That's it. And there's enough people to supplement that option to make it viable and have it survive. Period. JB said extremely loud today. I could be. Let me fix that for you, JB. Uh-oh. Not that way. That ain't how I fix it. Let me see. Yo. Oh, yeah. I'm loud as hell. Let me know. All right, is that better, y'all? Let me know if that's better. I see right there the volumes is up. It's hard to see what your volumes is like when you're using StreamYard because there is no volumes gauge. So again, another great point. Now, lastly, before I move on, I want to talk about Destiny 2. Destiny 2 was the most marvelous thing. Shogun 2K, shut up. That's my son. Oh, excuse me. The biggest thing to me was Destiny 2. Destiny 2 is going to be the biggest storyteller of Stadia because Destiny 2 allowed gamers to see when you looked at the development cycle of Destiny 2, it being ported over to Stadia, it allowed you to see how big and bad this platform is. Y'all probably don't know this, but Destiny 2 was ported in 3 to 6 months. Now, I know the homie Stadia Rocks is like, I know he's had some skepticism towards that, and he would know better than I because he's a developer. But according to Bungie, they didn't even address or even entertain the idea of coming to Stadia until they saw GDC. GDC was March of 2019. In March of 2019, they approached Google and they said, we would like to be part of this. And pew, they went into hyperdrive. Google started working with them on the assets and Vulkan. And they said a big key to that was Vulkan. And Digital Foundry did a good job, I feel, even though y'all know how I feel about Digital Foundry. But they did a great job, I feel, on explaining the Hold on. Explaining the perks of Vulkan. Vulkan allows for assets and stuff to be developed for faster, and it's easier to add detail. And they went over that in the Doom Eternal video. So definitely check out that Doom Eternal video. I think it was a good video, even though we got some big issues with it, and we'll get into that in a little bit. But part of that porting that made that porting a lot easier for them, where it wouldn't have been nowhere as fast if it was for a different console or something like that, was Vulkan, right? And then they wanted to test for latency. See, their biggest thing was, before they were selling on resolution, they wanted latency to be under control. And they have some people, and keep in mind, they did not have any experts on Vulkan, even though using Vulkan as porting the game was easier from a development standpoint, but they still had to learn it. And they had some people that had some familiarity with it, but they were nowhere near subject matter experts. So Google sent someone to stay there on site, and they pounded this thing out in 3 to 6 months. Now that says two things to me. That shuts up some stupid narratives that are out there. Narrative number one that it shuts up is that this thing just doesn't work. They were able to port this thing, get this running, you know what I'm saying? Getting it to stream at 4K 60, even though the first day was 1080, but it's increased since then. Get it to look, but all that pixel count, all that, it doesn't matter unless the game, if it doesn't matter if the game looks great. And what you guys saw per my streams is that Destiny looked great, right? Right. And what y'all saw was that what Bungie was aiming for, which was getting the latency down, they were able to do, right? Right. And what they did for Google in turn was to give them some invaluable data, where Google was able, because Google was able to take 24,000 hours of data from Project Stream and give you the Stadia, with 4K 60. They got that off of just that one game, which was Assassin's Creed. Can you imagine what type of data they have now? And Destiny was a big anchor in that. So to me, that was an amazing and true testament to the wonders of not just Stadia, but cloud gaming when done right. So that's a not so quick recap. Excuse me, of the gamer, the Google's developer, whatever, the Google, you know what I mean, the conference, right? So let's do this. Let's go to our comments. It says, JB says, I'm trying to figure out an easy way to play 2-player co-op on Stadia. If you're trying to play via the CCU, JB, you can connect 2 controllers to the CCU. You should be able to connect 2 controllers. What he has to do, y'all both have to pull up Google Home on your phone though. He has to pull up Google Home on his phone. You pull up Google Home on your phone. Well, yours is already synced, so you don't need to do it. And within Google Home, he has to, be connected to the same Wi-Fi that the CCU was on. And then via Google Home, the Google Home app, he selects the CCU. And then he can connect his controller that way, and then that way you can have multiple controllers on the same CCU. If you're playing it via the computer, it's just a matter of plugging into 2 controllers. But to do it to where, because you got to remember that the Google controller technology isn't connected, doesn't work off just being connected to the CCU. It's connected to the data center and the CCU simultaneously, and that's how they're able to reduce latency. It's great technology, and it definitely works. So that's what you got to do. You got to make sure that y'all both have Google Home, and if you both have Google Home, just make sure he selects the CCU. That his phone is connected to the same router that the CCU is connected to, and then you can do it that way. So Hopefully that helps. All right. Homie Charles Aran says gaming is on track to become what social media became last decade, and Stadia is spearheading it. Mic drop. Period. We're about to get into that because that's a perfect segue into our next topic, which is this. Let me pull it up on the screen, folks. And I thank all of you that were patient during all my screaming. I had my audio levels up because I was testing some stuff, so I apologize if I got some eardrums bleeding. But thank you very much for being patient. All right. So next we have Mainframe, their ex-CCP and Remedy CEO. The industry is headed towards cloud native games. Look at here, look at here. Boy, look at here. See that? So the article reads, and I'm not going to read the whole thing because there's one point in particular that I wanted to get to. Mainframe may be unknown name to gamers, but the founders are well-respected veterans in the industry, composed of two offices, one in Reykjavik, I butchered that, Iceland, and another in Helsinki, Finland. Mainframe was founded by CCP Games and Remedy Games developers with the highly ambitious goal to make an open-world social sandbox MMO game that could run entirely in the cloud. After the initial seed around 2 million euro announced in October, Mainframe has now managed to secure 7.6 million euro in the Series A fund led by Andreessen Horowitz with additional investment from Riot Games. And if you don't know who Riot Games are, this is going to be a big game, I think. It's going to be like the, I don't want to say like a triple B. I don't know how to figure, you know what I'm saying? It might not be full scale AAA. I think it's going to fall in the lines of what do you call that? God damn it! Excuse my French, y'all. I forget the name. Just the other Riot games that came out recently. Oh man, I love that game. I gave it away. I gave it away last year. Oh, it loses me. It loses me. Oh, but it's going to probably be in that vein, and that's a great. And Riot Games, they love making like little janky games like that, but that have like huge scale. They're behind the Defiance and the Defiance 2020 games. Oh man, I can't believe that I forgot the name of this damn game. It's gonna eat me alive. But here's the biggest thing. Well, let's talk about who Mainframe is. Again, they're former CCP Games, and I'm not quite sure what that company is. CCP Games. Let's take a look. Let's look them up. Redemption. I think it's Redemption, right? What the game? What's CCP Games? Agree and proceed. Are these the people that made company products? Eve Online. Oh, these people got the Eve Online pedigree. Holy cow. Golly. Let me see. Stadia Weekly One says, where do you find these articles? You know what? I'm glad you said that. Big ups to the homie Sean Livingston, aka Plaro. See, he can be out. That's why I told him he need to get his damn channel started. So they have a large pedigree of big time games. You know what I'm saying? These are some good developers here. And what are they making? Well, they're making a large scale MMO game, Sandlot MMO. And one of the biggest takeaway from this interview, again, I'm not going to go over the whole one, but they say the question is posed to them by the interviewer. And of course, the big thing about your game is that it's going to be cloud native, right? And here's what the answer that they gave that I think was like paramount to me. And we think that particularly for a team that has high ambitions to create a sort of an MMO that reimagines in some ways how MMOs and the social aspects of MMOs work. We think the ability to create a world that can be accessed by our players from any device and any screen is incredibly compelling. It allows us to create a world that can span from very short, casual moments where you may check in on the world from your phone to more in-depth base sessions where you're at home in front of your PC, right? And then they also go and talk about see if I can control. If you don't get the hell out of my way, jeez, get out of my way. All right. Oh, this thing is getting on my nerves. Prick. Okay. So you have they talk about the perks of being able to do a game like this on the cloud as well. First and foremost, they talk about no hacking. Like these cloud games, you don't have to worry about hacking at the moment, at least. No data mining. So gamers can stay surprised at what's going on. You ain't got people data mining and spoiling things for other gamers. And they also talk about frictionless gaming. So the question that was posed here is there would be no data mining either, right? As they're talking about the benefits of cloud gaming. And in part of his answer, the developer says, so that's kind of an example of what to us feels like a pretty compelling shift enabled by cloud gaming. But there are certainly other aspects of cloud networks, the ability to access worlds in a friction-free way that is incredibly compelling to us. It means that as game developers, we can create worlds where people can access those worlds simply as passive viewers. So whether you're on Twitch or YouTube or Mixer, you can begin to understand what the world is about. Potentially then, you would know, jump into the world, and with a click from your friend or from an influencer that is offering you access to the game. So that sounds like something that's coming to Stadia. But I didn't see any indication of Stadia in this game. Hold on. So let me see here. Okay. But that's because I'm blind, because here it goes right here. It says actually that's something that Google also discusses a possibility for their Stadia platform. They called it elastic rendering, where game developers can use two servers instead of one to render a single instance of a game. That is one of the positive clouds of gaming. But as you know, streaming is still in the infancy in a lot of ways. For example, Google is having quite a few issues since the launch of Stadia, most related to things like latency, which you could tell that this interviewer doesn't know what the hell he's talking about. For example, or even the graphical quality, which Doom Eternal looks like it's full 1800p to me, even though it's bouncing from 1400p on the Xbox, right? But he don't know what the hell he's talking about, which is not exactly as promised by Google. It wasn't promised by Google, it was promised by id Software. What do you think? What is just going to be an issue for still some time? All right, so this is what they answered. That way in which I think about this, personally at least, is we're just kind of a year zero of the cloud gaming shift. It's very similar in my mind to what we've experienced when we were beginning to play games online back in the day, when most players were on dial-up, yada, yada. So let me see. Nothing about Stadia. When I tried to look up Stadia, I found nothing. Oh, there's quite a few references to Stadia. Now, no. So it's not, I don't think it's coming to Stadia. I don't know what they're going to, says, can you divulge which engine you're using? It says, since your game is going to be future proof, are you going to tell us the technologies like ray tracing? So it's a very interesting article, but the biggest part of it is frictionless gaming. And for those of you that don't know what frictionless gaming is, it's described as this. Friction means anything that increases inconvenience for the user. Friction makes you take extra steps also for the developer. So think more than necessary or work harder to get the services that you want. In designing a gaming platform, friction is bad. Both companies will attempt to reduce friction by using cloud technology to store digital resources and services on their own servers and deliver them to clients through the internet. And I took that as a snippet from an article that talked about Apple versus Google's approach to frictionless gaming. So that's what friction means. So it means plateaus and guardrails that you run across when you're developing games, and those same and plateaus and respective that you get as gamers, things that you ain't got to worry about Like loading. I ain't got to worry about loading. Boop, 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 boop. I'm playing the game. Transport. I ain't got to worry about transport. Boop, 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 boop. I'm playing the game downstairs. You see what I'm saying? Upgrades. I ain't got to worry about upgrades. Boop, 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 boop. I already got the upgrade. You know what I'm saying? That's frictionless gaming. And then there's capabilities. Then there's that's the end user aspect of the friction. The game development aspect of the friction is the stuff that Larian Studios talked about with Baldur's Gate. The simple fact, something as simple as the Stream Connect, what this podcast is named after, but the Stream Connect that allows you to see PIP in 60 frames per second of other gamers that are playing the same game as you are. You can't even have couch co-op in a lot of ways that works in a reasonable fashion because it's not possible that much with these dedicated devices. So that's friction on the development side that is no longer there because the stuff is out there in the cloud. It's not an issue to where it's a complex problem to solve and try to develop it for a dedicated device. So I'm just wondering what this is. I'm wondering where this game is going to, where it's going to premiere on or how it's going to premiere. So we'll see. They talk a lot about 5G and stuff like that in here. So very interesting game. You know, it's probably years out, but they talk about the benefits of cloud gaming, definitely. Right. Stadia Weekly One says, love when they spread misinformation with zero facts to back them up. Absolutely. Absolutely. They do it all the time. All right. That was the cloud native gaming future. Now I want to talk about something a little bit more interesting here. I got a couple of tweets here. Let me put them up. Oh, man, stop. We're going to put this tweet up here, and then we're going to put this tweet up here. Oh, no, those are the same tweet. We're going to put this tweet up here. No, are they the same? No, that was the original one. Okay, come on, MM2K. Come on, get it together, brother. Get it together. All right. So I want to first and foremost say big ups to the homies Trizza Rector and Logic Police. Hopefully they're listening right now because they were big staples in getting and making sure that we got this information that we're going to elaborate on now. And I'm not going to take too long talking about it, but I want to first and foremost show you guys this. This right here is the Digital Foundry tweet about the analysis they did on Doom Eternal. For those of you that know that Doom Eternal was evaluated on PC and the consoles. And it was discovered that even though Xbox was said to be at 1800p, most of the time it's running at 1400p. A lot of us Stadia followers, again, because we're out here to combat information and to deal with lies and deal with misgrievances, because a lot of us feel a certain way, not because we thought the game was going to look bad. 1800p looks fantastic. Doom Eternal looks great on Stadia. And if you don't believe me, go check out Stadia Cast. Go look up Stadia Cast on YouTube at Stadia Cast, all one word, and look at their playthrough of Doom Eternal. Got me so jealous. Lloyd of Stadia Cast had me messing up my my streams because I tried to boost up my streams to a certain degree. And of course, none other than the Cold Blood Sensei said, Stadia is not working right now. And I don't know what's going on. I'm planning on having no issues. But I messed with some features in OBS and it was staggering a little bit. So I'm like, damn, how can I get mine to look that good? But no, it looks great. It was giving you a 1v1 visual fidelity of how the game looks in his stream. So definitely check it out. And he was doing it from he was doing it from a Chromecast Ultra on a capture card. And in order for you to do that, just so you're aware, he's stripping away some fidelity Because in order for you to stream from a Chromecast Ultra, you got to use an HDMI splitter, which separates the DHCP blocker. And when you do that, you're stripping away fidelity. So even though he stripped away fidelity to record it on a capture card, it still looked that fantastic. So 1800p don't worry me. You know what I'm saying? So it wasn't, we were upset about that. We were upset about the fact that, again, just announced by the new company Mainframe and by others, that cloud gaming presents possibilities just not present somewhere else. The fact that this game was developed on Vulkan and Digital Foundry did a whole run through on how it benefits Vulkan, you know, or how Vulkan benefited Doom Eternal. We couldn't understand why it seemed like there's now parity with Xbox. But it appears that Xbox is trying to hit 1800p where it really does it. And then by me playing on Stadia, it might be hitting 1800p more frequent. We don't know. We'll have to find out. But we're not going to know because Digital Foundry told us so. Here's why. This was given to me by Trizzy Rector and Logic Police. So they talk about the analysis they did, and the big ups to the homie Trizzy Rector. He said, no Stadia analysis, right? So then you got John Linneman, and bless his heart, man. Like my grandma used to say, bless his heart. John Linneman's out there and said, people were waiting for that? With this, bless John's heart, because he gets all worked up and riled up when people go against him. But then he says stuff like this in this fashion, right? People were that wasn't even necessary. Wasn't even necessary. And Trizzy Rector very calmly says, yes, I'm a big Stadia fan, user, and was looking forward to the comparison. Hopefully someone on Digital Foundry can shed light on Stadia's version, especially as it's one of the first day and date AAAs for the platform. So then he says, yeah, maybe Tom can do it. He has a connection for the hardware for it. I really don't care for streaming at all to begin with, but even still, my internet isn't great here. So because you don't care for streaming, you decided to not provide analysis the way you're letting your personal feelings dictate what you provide to the masses. That right there cancels, not saying that they're not smart, they're very smart people, but that cancels Digital Foundry out as a noteworthy provider. Whether you care for streaming or not, who cares? A lot of people do. It has saturation in the market right now. People want to know how this works. And if you can't be a consummate professional, but then you ask for money, you want people to support you. If you can't be a consummate professional and put your biases to the side and provide people information and analysis the way a consummate professional does, then you don't deserve any attention. So he just exposed himself there. That being said, we still challenged him. And big up to the homie, Logic Police. He said, hold on. He said, wait a minute. You write a piece about Doom not being true 4K on Stadia, which is true, but you don't even mention his performance in his article? I see what the article was about, current gen, yes. But you did talk about PCs. This seems a little bit fishy, to be honest. And Logic Police was right on there. And John Linneman said, that's simple. Stadia Go didn't arrive until yesterday, and I don't have the bandwidth necessary to play 4K Stadia. Look. That's a bunch of hogwash. You know when the code came, you have it, but y'all haven't solidified plans on how the review is going to be done. So I followed up. I said, well, if Tom is in the UK, then it's not feasible for him to do it now either with the data caps. Meaning what I was referring to was that the government is talking about capping everyone's data, right, for different platforms. Nonetheless, as a tech evaluation camp, shouldn't you guys have this considering for high-end cloud evals? You can get a gigabyte internet for $80. And this, I'm just going off the States. a Cat 7 8 cord 6 feet, because they recommend that if you want to put it in the best, if you want to see what it can do at tip top performance, it's good to gauge it from the least likely or the least feasible performance to the best performance. That's what you're supposed to do. And all you need for a gigabyte internet is $80. Cat 7 or 8 cord, 6 feet, 10 to 20, and you shouldn't go beyond 6 feet. An optimal mounter, $100. That's less than, and I put also, that all is Stadia plus Stadia is less than the price of Xbox One X at launch. So you got an Xbox One X, you got all the bells and whistles and displays, you got all this stuff, you got a beefy ass PC, excuse my French, but you can't get these little rinky-dink items so you can rate Stadia. And now you're saying you don't have the bandwidth to do Stadia. Okay, I got you. Nobody at Digital Foundry, with their thousands upon thousands of dollars a month that they get for the reviews, nobody can invest in this and go to a remote location and test this out. Nope, nobody has done that. Being that you work in coordination with your gamer won't supplement something, or I mean, seriously, I mean, literally, your gamers in the UK, internet is a lot cheaper in the UK, right? So even in worst case scenario, 80 plus 20 is 100, plus another router is another 100. That's 200. Plus Google Stadia is $130, so that's $330. You're trying to tell me that Eurogamer can't front you $330 and at the most $80 a month for internet to test a platform from the richest company in the world? But then I thought about it, because then I saw Lloyd and I think it was Trizarector. I see your question, JB. I'm gonna get to it. No, let me get to it right now. Never played Doom before. Wonder should I get it? Looks like I'll rage quit. Laugh out loud. That second part, I was gonna definitely say hell yes, but that second part, I mean, I don't mind a challenge. I love it. It gets my adrenaline pumping. I love the fact that I'm trash at something, and then the chat is like, "Damn, you garbage, man! You're you make me throw up in my mouth. Oh, this is horrible." And then I get better and better and better at it. I love that dynamic. I love always, trying to get better at stuff. So with that being said, JB, if you can put it on the easier mode, you can definitely put it on the easier mode, but it's a great experience. You should be able to put it on the easier mode and still get a great experience. It's a great experience. And I definitely recommend playing it. It's not like Doom 2016. I did not like Doom 2016. It wasn't for me. But Doom Eternal is fantastic. So definitely pick it up. But I saw Lloyd, and Lloyd was playing the game, and then I think it was Trizarector, or maybe it was Charles Rand who brought it to his attention. And he said he's not buying it from Digital Foundry, that they should do it. And I was like, yeah. And then I thought, and I said, no, you know what? And this is the way Google's probably thinking too. If you have the audacity to say something like this, I really don't care for streaming at all to begin with, but even still, my internet isn't great here. Look, let me give you guys a prime example. I cannot stand Death Stranding. I'm not the biggest Hideo Kojima fan. I've been gaming for 30 plus years. I remember when Hideo Kojima was out back then with his super long dialogue, and I never was the greatest fan. Nonetheless, I went and I purchased the game, and I tried to plug hours into it so I could be fair for you guys. So I can sit here and say, I wouldn't sit here and be armchair quarterbacking. Another example, Google. Let me use Google. Before I got Google Stadia, I was already resolved on mainly gaming on my PC and as a backup using what? GFN, because I was in the GFN beta for about a little bit over a year. And I liked this performance on the go. I was like, it's cool. You know, if I really feel like I got to play a game, particularly at a mall, and I want to get into some Division 2, I can just boot up my gameplay from Division 2 on my phone, as long as there's decent internet, and I'm going to play Division 2 on my phone while I'm waiting for my wife to go spend up all my money at the mall. I was resigned to that belief. I did not care for Google Stadia at all, except for Cyberpunk 2077, because when I tried playing GFN on the go, it wasn't always the greatest experience. It wasn't so much performance and latency, it's just how bad it looked. GFN isn't a looker on the go. It isn't a looker. You can try to make it a looker, but you're really saking the performance. So, and seeing all this technology talk from Google, I said, oh, well, when Cyberpunk 2077 comes out, I might get it for PC and Stadia, and I'll play that on the go because I know I'm going to spend a lot of time with that game, right? And that was my only purpose for Google Stadia. I didn't really care for it. Shadow Blade is another one. I just don't like it. Now, some people may disagree with me. I know the homie Project Storm loves it. I just don't like Shadow Blade. I don't like it. But I paid the $25 a month for 4 months straight. $100. So when I was doing my cloud testing, so I could do it for y'all. How much are y'all paying me to do this? Nada. This was all expenses out of my pocket. So I could provide factual information to you, whether it personally suits me or not, because I understand that gaming is bigger than I. And for John to sit up here and put this out there, I don't know if he had a pint of wild turkey in his hand while he was typing this. I don't know what the problem is. But if this is truly how he feels, he cemented why Digital Foundry is not a reliable source. They're not consummate professionals as it relates to tech analysis. They know about tech analysis. I'm not taking that away from them. But a consummate professional is somebody that can work in an unbiased plane. And he does not have that capability. Period. So, by me sitting there thinking about it, do we Stadia gamers, knowing this about John and knowing that he is an integral part of Digital Foundry, do we really want Digital Foundry doing this analysis? No. They're going to muck it all up. They're going to find something wrong and overpurport. They're going to tear this thing up. So let's not even put it in their hands. I urge for any of us within the community, for those of you that want to start this, and I'll support you. If you start a Patreon, I'll support you. The hell with Digital Foundry. Call yourselves Digital Cloud. If you have the wherewithal and the information and you know how to count pixels and do all that stuff, and you can do something as simple as this, just get a gigabyte. And you don't need a gigabyte internet, but just to make sure that you can reach the highest plateau to the lowest. Get a gigabyte internet, Cat 7/8 cords, and an optimal router. I'll donate to your Patreon, and I'll get others to donate to your Patreon too to cover your expenses. The hell with Digital Foundry. They're done. They're done, son. They're done. They're trash. And we don't want them judging this. So I was kind of with Lloyd. And I get where Lloyd's coming from, but then I had to think about it. Like, no, I'd rather them not even touch it. I'd rather them not even touch it. JB said, counting pixels and blades of grass. Absolutely. If y'all want to pass the word, I'm down with the team. If anybody knows how to count pixels, you know, we're talking about $330 worth with a supplement of a maximum $80 a month. We can get a Patreon starter for you, a Kickstarter. Shoot, I'll be willing to do that. Matter of fact, let me rap to the team. Let me rap to the Stadia team. See if they're willing to do that. We'll get our own Digital Foundry. Stadia Source, somebody, we can do a Kickstarter. Because this is ridiculous. They're not reliable. They're not consummate. I wouldn't give them a red penny. I wouldn't give them jack squat. So that's that. And with that said, let's get on to our gaming news. First and foremost, Crew 2. This is all courtesy of Stadia Source, where you can get the number one source in Stadia news. The Crew 2 is out now. And let's hit these up. So if you want the base version of Crew 2, you can get it for $15, baby. $15 USD or 20 what y'all call it overseas? 20 quid? I hear that term a lot. 20 quid or 12 quid. I'm sorry. The deluxe version is $18. All right. Where it's normally $60. And then you can get the gold version. You can get the gold version for $27, where it's normally $89.99. Now, I'm not into racers, but I'm definitely thinking about Cloud Foundry. Yes, Charles. I'm with it, brother. I'm with it. I'm gonna talk to Chase and Brian and everybody and see who we can find that'd be willing to do that. And they ain't got to just do Stadia. They can do GFN or whatever. Because this is all to benefit cloud gaming, which we're fans of. JB says, I'm waiting for ESO to come. I am too, man. That's going to be dope. But I think what they're worried about is the clashing of ESO and Baldur's Gate. Even though Baldur's Gate is in early access, I think they're worried about the clashing of the two, even though they're like different games, but still. What else we got? So yeah, and the reason why this was important is because they did this one right. Y'all saw me harking about Stadia and Ubisoft's release of the Division 2. That was kind of disastrous. And then you had Doom Eternal, where they stealth bomb. id Software did stealth bomb. Let us know that the game was not going to be native 4K. This was done right. The price drops were relevant as soon as it went live, and these prices are fantastic. These are great prices. So I'm going to say this. I've had some concerns with Ubisoft. I said, y'all either with us or y'all against us. And I said the prices are funny. And via the sale, and what I'm seeing here, I think we sent a shot across the bow. And somebody at Ubisoft was listening, and they said, you know what? Yeah, we can do better, and they're doing better. So I want to say concerns alleviated. Kudos to Ubisoft. I thank them for listening, for being open-minded and understanding the importance of supporting this platform. When you're being a partner, you be a partner. And my hat goes off to them for recognizing that. And Division 2 is great on the platform. Despite that early hiccup, it's a great game on the platform. And I'm loving it, man. I'm loving it. And it's just uphill from here. All right. So big ups to them for that. Let's see here. Let me tweet this out again. If y'all could do me a huge favor. We're still going strong. Everybody know while we're doing a roundup of the gaming news, we're still going strong. And we're going to tweet that out. Boom. All right. So great job on that. Okay. So now I want to talk about this. This really, I should have, and I really wanted to, and I might just do a follow-up video over this. I might work on it over the weekend. So the TGOS podcast, the Glory of Stadia podcast, did an interview with the Stacks on Stacks on Stacks developer in Sundstrom. Excuse me. Very eye-opening interview for several reasons. One poignant one, and I'm going to get to that in a little bit. First and foremost, it's a big land for them. I want to pull the video up. Let's go to YouTube and see if we can pull it up. Oh, crap. Oh, there goes Gloria Stadia. So here's the video right here. And there's only 182 views. And well, there's 216. That's unacceptable. That's unacceptable. Like, I'm going to put this link in the chat. I'm asking all of my followers, whether you're listening to this live or on demand, check the chat. And you need to watch that interview. You need to watch the interview. We operate as being in the know here. I feel fantastic and I feel great that everybody enjoys my platform, that follows my content. But it's bigger than me. This platform was created and built to highlight the truth about Stadia. And when you have a situation like this, where a developer for a highly anticipated game on the platform is coming and talking to the little old weeds of the industry, and news is made, it is our responsibility to get in the know and listen. And I'm not trying to shame anybody right now, but I am going to say it is unacceptable if you haven't heard this interview and you're even listening to me now. Y'all need to go listen to that interview. Y'all need to check it out because some news is made. I'm just going to go over a couple of things because I want you to listen to the whole video. I just want to go over a couple things, but you need to listen. It's only 36 minutes. And I find it unacceptable if you haven't heard it. Again, I'm not going to name out names. I'm not going to ask them to burn you at the stake, but you need to, directly after this, you need to listen to it. All right. Because some news was made. Now, what news was made in this article? The biggest thing is, one of the biggest things, I'm going to start with the lighter things right now. He talked about performance. They talked about performance. And Ian called the performance the developer Stacks on Stacks. Well, let me say this first. Stacks on Stacks is developed solely by Ian. He has a team that he outsources stuff to, you know what I'm saying, to handle different things, but he's the sole developer of this game. And hold on to that thought because it's going to be prevalent to what I talk about shortly. But that's an amazing feat for a game like this that is garnering a lot of interest. So kudos to Ian. But he calls Stadia uncanny for how it works. And in his mind, the core value statement is you can get this uncanny performance without having to buy a box. And to me, that's a true value statement. And that's one value statement that I urge Google to follow all the time. Like, get off this teraflops. And I even see some adverts on my phone that say some other stuff. It's not even memorable. Like, they really need to talk about this value statement of you can get uncanny performance without a box. Don't talk about teraflops. And don't talk about how it's cheap. It's not a cheap experience, but it's a low entry point and it's very portable, and the fact that it's uncanny. That's what they need to do. I see a lot of adverts on my phone, but they're not hitting. I just got to be honest. But he talked about that as being a true value statement, and I absolutely agree. Now, he was asked by the team, how did this partnership between him and Stadia happen? And he said, and this is where we start fighting the narratives, particularly from Business Insider. Because this is they got socked in the eye with this interview. This is why I urge you guys to watch this. This interview punches in the eye Business Insider and leaves a black mark around their eye that's not going to go away for a long time. And I also got plans to try to follow up this by reaching out to some people to see if we can expose who these people are that quote unquote help write this Business Insider article. Because this guy, Ian, says that Google approached them, that they were scouting for devs at a festival built for indies, that they made initial contact. So Google ain't just sitting in some Master Throne, some Game of Thrones style seat chair with a bunch of swords sitting there just drinking the latest wine and hunking a chunk out of the biggest grilled wildebeest, right? They actually were scouting for devs, indie devs. They were actively looking for indie development. And in response, when the team also asked, well, what do you think about what was being said in Business Insider that Google isn't funding anybody? They're not really supporting. They're not really even trying to go get indie development. Ian said that they received funding and plenty of help and support from Google. And he said in response to the Business Insider article that he said he don't understand where this came from. No one contacted him because it's been known that he was developing this game for a while, and he thought that particularly the article was strange. He called the article strange. Doesn't make any sense. As someone that has boots on the ground when it comes to this area, why didn't y'all try to call me? And he also alludes that they were just trying to create a narrative. That's why he never got a call. Look how accessible he was to the TGOS podcast. This is just their third episode or their fourth episode. It's a new podcast. It's a small channel. Look how accessible Ian was. So if Ian is so accessible to a small podcast like the Glory of Stadia podcast, if Business Insider was trying to call him, don't you think Ian would pick up the phone? Yes. So that proves that Business Insider had an agenda. We alluded to it in the prior video. They don't care about giving you factual information. They just care about getting clicks. They said that was their only job was to get you to engage in their material. That was their only job. Remember that? Remember when I was yelling that time and time again? Time after time. That was their only job. To me, that is a major stain on the reputation of Business Insider. And it goes back to what I said earlier in the show, that we have to be smarter than this. That we cannot fall for the okie doke. We got to understand when we're being used. Publications like Business Insider that have been very transparent, I showed you in my video, they told you that their number one job is not to inform you, that their number one job is to get you to engage with their content. That's all they can. That's their job first and foremost. Someone like Business Insider, when you think of the prestige and the lineage of Business Insider, it's a prestigious publication from the past. So you think that their number one job is to inform you, of course, and inform you and to be rewarded for informing you. I get if they ran in tandem, but no. Their only job, not number one. I was giving them the benefit. They said their only job, not their number one job, their only job was to get you to engage with their content. So I want to get a statement from Business Insider. I'm going to reach out to them. We're going to see how much success I have. Reach out to them, see what we can do to engage them. You know, because even though I do all the screaming and yelling, I'm a professional. If they want to sit and have a talk with me, I'm more than glad to do that so we can get to the bottom of things. I know how to ask questions without doing all this. I've done it before. But we need answers on this, right? Like, I got a collage of the stupid YouTubers that said stuff. That's nothing. But when you take the name and the prestige that's associated with the Business Insider, that sends ripples through the community. when you have such a major fail like this. Seriously. Treasure Rector says TBT Stadia needs to be on iOS ASAP until it's halfway there. Yeah, Apple iOS just makes it hard. They took Shadowblade off too. They make it hard for everybody. That's why I'm not this is not a popular opinion, but as a tech person, I don't like Apple. I don't like iOS. It's too restrictive. I want to be able to check out the latest technology when it comes out. Apple's just too restrictive. I don't like Apple products. Well, I prefer Linux and Android, And last but not least, let's talk about these April Pro games. Gonna let me bring up the Pro games, courtesy again of Stadia Source. So the Pro games have been released, and man, oh man, oh man. They start off with the aforementioned stacks on stacks on stacks, which that's a great ad. And I know Duncan is happy. Spitlings, which I was interested in. Stacks on stacks on stacks and Spitlings aren't really my cup of tea, but that's okay. Again, that's not all about me, as I mentioned earlier. And then Serious Sam. Now that, my friends, I love Serious Sam. My brother put me down with Serious Sam, and ever since then I've been a fan of the series. So I can't wait to get that. And I was actually going to buy that. And then in April, those games will be available, but you can get these now and put them in your library if you haven't already. Destiny 2, Grid, Guilt, Metro, SteamWorld Dig 2, Steam Quest, and Thumper. All great games. And particularly Guilt, which you can only get on Stadia, and Grid with the 40-car race. You can't, and then Destiny with the complete collection. Can't beat that. So definitely kudos to them, and I thank Stadia because Serious Sam's about to buy that. Hey, look, man, I done spent a lot of money this month. I spent a lot of money, and they're saving me. They're saving me a slap across the jaw from my wife by making this free in April. So thank you, Stadia. I appreciate you. All right. And that was supposed to be the more news, but I got that now. So now we're going to go into the question and answer section. Oh, let me move that out of the way. Questions and answer section. Let's do it, baby. Let me see. What can I have rolling in the background as I play this? Let's put that article back up. The Google events, let's do that. Let's put this summit back up. And while we're waiting on questions, we can go to the so if you have any questions or comments, and remember, we're taking down ideas too. If you have ideas for enhancements to Google Stadia, right now we got my ideas were MM2K's ideas were to allow more than one person, allow at least two people to play a game within a family plan at the same time. Family plans I don't think are active yet, but because I tried it with my son, didn't work. But when they do become active, I know it's easier said than done, definitely. And it's up to the developers, but that would be great. Another thing is I would love to see 1440p super sampling. So what I mean by that is if I got my game on quality mode via my stream options and I'm playing on a 1440p monitor, I would love it to be super sampled down from 4K to 1440p. That would be fantastic. You know what I'm saying? Bippity Bop had 30-second captures. He said the capture should be 30 seconds. I don't know what the current time is. Some people were saying they are 30 seconds now, so I'll check into that. Zero Games for Me had an idea, and I didn't get it down. So Zero Games for Me, if you're listening or if you want to reach out to me later, definitely let me know. Cloud Zero said more crossplay. And Charles Aran said, he says, here's for YouTube, the ability to raid streams, jump from one to another. I think that would be a cool idea. And also ability to make multiple streams of the same game, especially during community events like the great. Yeah, that would be great. That would be great to do it like a multi-stream thing. Kind of like, I think you can do that on Mixer right now. So if you have any ideas or if you have any comments, definitely drop them in the chat. You can also, if you want to donate, let me throw that up here. If you want to donate, you can also donate to the fake John donated $79. But yeah, definitely let us know. Okay, Charles Arad says, Lost Words come out tomorrow. Getting that in crew. I sent 2 links in the chat. One was a new person signed to YouTube. Another was how I dealt with a hater. Let's go back. See what Charles got up here. What was the first one you said, Charles? You said the first one. Oh, golly. I'm hitting the wrong buttons. Charles said, I saw that I did see the new streamer sign on the YouTube. I think it's fair to say, Charles, that they're going to deploy this new person rather smartly and wisely. They're going to deploy this new person smartly and wisely because the Sebastian Paul, he's in Montreal. I said in Connecticut. Golly, I was off. Jade Raymond, that's her name, yeah. But they're going to use these streamers to help promote these games. They definitely are. Because they mentioned Google and YouTube and that those questions that in that Q&A section that they did with Splash Damage. And you can see it right here, Stadia, YouTube, you see it all right here. So yeah, definitely, Charles, you're on to something. Yeah, brother, if you pick up Doom, JB says I might pick up Doom. Definitely pick up Doom, man. I wholeheartedly agree. Pick up Doom. I mean, put it even on easy if it gets too hard. It's still a great experience. Still a great experience. Okay. Let me see. Let me go here through the chat. See what we got here. Charles says, what I want to see is Stadia and cloud services running on various devices like those 100 2-in-1 laptops. Oh, yeah. That'd be great. That'd be great as well. Let's see what else we got here. Stadia Weekly says, I love when they spread misinformation with zero facts to back them up. That's what they do, baby. That's how they survive. That's my son Shogun 2K. He says, calm down. Shut up, boy. Cold Blood Sensei, he's referring to what I was saying earlier about data usage. He says, my mobile data won't even be enough for one day of Stadia. Laugh my ass off, so I don't see how that will work here in Europe. What you're doing, hold on one second. Let me blow my nose. What the homie Cold Blood Sensei is doing is he said, yeah, it doesn't work for me. Yeah, it works for nobody in Europe. Yeah. What I urge you to do, Cold Blood, is I want you to reach out to Duncan, to Dan, reach out to Stadia Arcadia, reach out to the Glorious Stadia, reach out to all these people, Wrath Gaming, and ask them if their data plans are being splintered by Stadia. And the answer is no, because the regions that they're in is fine for them. They don't have any issues. Unfortunately, you're in a region where it is an issue, and I get that. But that's where the word options apply. The word options applies to your situation. You can't use it, so therefore, gaming on the go is only feasible via the Switch. Gotcha, understand. But just because it doesn't fit for you doesn't mean it's not a fit for everybody. You understand? Everything that's produced and made doesn't have to be for you. And when I say you, I mean, I'm talking about the generation in particular, and the population in particular. And that's something we got to get over, because something is not for us it's trash for everybody else. That's a mindset that still boggles me. Let's see who else we got up here. Sean Livingston says he needs to get his own damn show. Sean, you need to stop playing around. He says, stated Amazon is trying to do this with the game I did. Yes, that is true. That is true. You're absolutely right. And when I say when he says this, he's talking about the instant cloud, the instant game cloud in the world. That is true. That is right. So thank you for the correction. Even though I said really nobody is. This will be the first time. It depends on who comes out with it first. They may actually come out with it first. We don't know, Sean. Chisel Rector said, must be sipping on hot limited. Yeah, exactly. That's what old men do. Chisel Rector says, I could see Google buying out Splash Damage in the near future to be their London studio multiplayer focus. You know what? They have the treasure chest to do all of it. You know what I would like to see? You know what I like to see? And I think Google is doing this smartly. I think they're looking to buy people based upon performance. They're not just looking at you like, yeah, you got developers, come here. They're not doing that. They're looking to buy based upon performance, I think. I would love to see them buy Larian Studios. Let's see how well this Baldur's Gate. I mean, we got heavy anticipation for it, but let's see how this Baldur's Gate actually is. If Baldur's Gate is actually as fantastic as we think it is, then let's see it. You feel me? Let's see it. Let's see how great it is. And I would love to see Baldur's Gate, the Larian Studios rather, be exclusive developers. That would be big. That would be huge. Let's see what else we got. Says Aaron Hoffman is a fraud. Promise you a lot of nothing, but Snake Oil reminds me of Phil Spencer. I'm not even going to entertain that. He's just trying to ruffle the feathers there. All right. I see we got new comments. JB, I need Stadia to untether the controller from the PC. Yeah, JB, we covered the Splash Damage interview. Yeah, when Chase was in here earlier, when I was doing all my screaming and yelling, that's what I was screaming and yelling about. Oh, this is when they talking about. This is when they were talking about the ads. I was like, ugh. So here goes Charles Duran on how he dealt with the person that, let's see, a fanboy. Let's take a look at this. So it looks like Stadia will releasing more stealth updates. Let me see. Oh, King Blue. King Blue is a troll. He's a crumbside troll. I deal with King Blue all the time. He says, Stadia source, what do you do? And the rest of the Stadia community think is the guy's troll. Yeah. Where are these Stadia exclusives at? He says, what's the matter? Downloading and comeback said it doesn't even have those either. Currently. Yeah, King Blue is a troll. I deal with King Blue all the time. He's a troll. Yeah, some people they love to they like to trigger us and all that other stuff, but yeah, King Blue is definitely a troll. So let me see what else we got here. All right. Wireless support is coming, definitely. Yeah, we talked about that last week, Charles, where wireless support is is coming. And the whole Stadia Pro games, the Pro only games, where basically that's free to play. I did a video on it where we talked about that, and that's going to be a big deal. Rainbow Six, even though Rainbow Six isn't free to play right now, I got a video talking about that tomorrow. Rather, I created it. I made it earlier in the week, but as things played out, I just didn't release it yet. So, but yeah, all right. Well, we're over the 2-hour mark. We're 10 minutes in, and great show, guys. I want to thank everybody for coming. So thank you, Charles Rand, JB. Who else we got in? We got Trizza Rector. We got Stadia Weekly 1. We got Shogun 2K, Cold Blood Sensei. We got Stadia Rocks. Thank you, brother. Thank you, brother. I really appreciate you. Stadia Talk, my homie Chase. King X Player. He says Stadia Dosage, Bleeding Edge is the greatest. Laugh out loud. Who else we got in here? We got Callie Rex. What's up? Here, like I said, I'm glad you came through, Callie. Random Noob. Just the music was unbearable. Oh, okay. Yeah, we got to fix that. All right. And with that being said, I thank everybody for coming through, checking us out. And with that said, we appreciate y'all, and you all have a wonderful, wonderful gaming day. Peace.
Stay sick cause I follow my gut. They say I was pushing my luck. I'ma push me a matte all black truck.